Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. So today, something a little bit off the wall. My brother-in-law has loaned me this kit, the Takom VT12, a turretless twin gun tank, tank killer you could call it. Now, you may recall from sort of New Year time, my brother-in-law is the one who built that brilliant ICM radio car, the little Panzer Spar Wagen Funk, and everybody was gaga about his weathering and his snow scene, which was amazing. But anyway, let's hope he does this one as well. But in the meantime, he's lent it to me to have a look at it. Now, it's a very strange vehicle, and I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert. I've been reading up on Wikipedia, I've got it in front of me. It's an odd one though. So it basically is a development in the mid-late 70s where the company that was 74, it says in fact, Maschinenbau Kiel, and they selected what was basically a Maybach tank, and on this version it actually has a V12 turbocharged. Was it twin turbo? I think it was. But it's basically intended to be a bit lighter than a standard tank because it's got no turret and you haven't got the turret mechanisms, which takes a lot of weight. It's got a lower profile, so it's actually sort of safer and a harder target to hit on the battlefield. It looks a bit like, it reminds me of the Swedish, is it the S-Tank? It reminds me of that one a little bit, but with twin guns, which is absolutely manic, isn't it? And when my brother-in-law sent it to me, I said, looks like something from like a steampunk video, It's a bit weird with the twin guns. And apparently the idea of it was, the concept, the way they tried to sell it was, that it would sort of act like a skier and it was sort of slightly sidewind its way toward the enemy, firing whichever gun, in terms of being in the right position because it doesn't have a turret. And it would sort of fire the right gun and then it would sort of twist to the right and fire the left gun and then back to the left and fire the right gun. And sort of sidewind its way instead of going in a straight line. Which I suppose when you have got the double guns, it could work quite well. How it will, if the enemy decides to start moving around, it could become quite difficult though. But you've also got twin guns, twin firepower, 105mm cannon, or 120mm, I think it was in this version actually, later version. Very powerful engine though, really light and powerful. So it didn't hang about. Did they give us speed? Yeah. 43 miles an hour it could do, which is pretty fast for a main battle tank in the mid-70s. It's quite a monster, really. It's quite an interesting vehicle, so I thought we'd have a look at this. So it's Takom, obviously, and it's their kit number 2155. We'll zoom you in. Stop reading from Wikipedia, it just shows I was pig ignorant on this one. And it also tells you that it's a Takom, and they probably won't give us much data. We'll see. So on the side, we've got, you see how low-lying it is? It's a bit like a Sturmgeschütz from World War II. It's a similar thing to that, isn't it? It's slightly similar in concept, but it's got twin guns, twice the firepower. But it does need a crew of 4. That's the only downside, because it needs a gunner and loader and gunner for both sides, basically. Or sorry, a gunner for both sides, I should say. So I think it's driver, gunner, captain, and loader. So I think captain was in command. But yeah, 1984. It was never actually adopted. I should just explain this when I talk about the history. It wasn't actually very successful in the end. It wasn't adopted. They were trying to sell it to the Bundeswehr, the German army, and to the British army. Obviously, as we were coming toward the end of the chieftain's lifespan. But the British we said that we wanted a turreted tank because we wanted to be able to, have an advanced firing system and snipe off at will with the tank. With the tank motionless, because you've got to be in motion if you're gonna keep being able to have accurate retargeting with something like that. This one, whereas obviously in the end we went for the Challenger 2 design and got that designed and built, and the Germans did the same thing with the Bundeswehr. They didn't really like it. I don't think they were that impressed as a concept, based on the Leopard, of course. Should have explained that. So it's a 70s Leopard chassis. And I think the Bundeswehr felt the same as the British did. I think they thought, well, it's not really ideal. What we'll really go for, we'll just go for the new Leopard. So they started talking about the Leopard 2, of course. So it didn't really catch on. And I think that the fact that they had the Swedish S-Tank, and just looked a little bit like something from a sci-fi film, but an interesting vehicle. So let's have a closer look. On the side here we've got I quite like the way that Takom do this, where they show the sprue maps on the side, so you get an instant idea before you even open the box. There's a little bit of photo-etch, some decals, tracks, etc. Let's have a look inside then. Let's pop this off. So we've got our VT2. Oh, and it has got a little tiny bit of history in front, so I'll read you that. If you'll bear with me, I'll just zoom you back. Yes, I've still got the whiskers. I haven't had the court order yet from my wife. I think the basic idea is that I'll either get a court order to remove. I've got three options. I can shave it off, I can have a court order to shave it off, or divorce papers. Anyway, back to the VT. So it says the Versuchstrager, and this literally means. Remember, this has quite amused me actually. It literally means test bed or experiment carrier. So it very much was an experimental tank, really. It was were two German prototype twin-gun turretless main battle tanks. Since the early 70s, several West German companies have been working on conceptual designs for a successor to the Leopard 1. Although the test programme concluded that a twin-gun turretless tank could be created, it ultimately proved to be tactically impractical. Yeah, because if it got hit in the tracks, here's the thing: if it got hit in the tracks, it's out of business, isn't it? Whereas if a Leopard gets hit in the tracks, it can still hit the enemy very hard. If it gets immobilised, it can still shoot. So if this took a hit and it's immobilised, you can't turn your guns. That's the problem, isn't it? It says the first VT-11 was built in 1974 by MAK in Kiel. Following year, they produced it. They followed it up with this VT-12. Further testing of the concept of the tank with two main guns. So the first one had a single gun, VT-1, and this is the VT-12. It refers to the guns. There were 5 Gefechtsfeld Versuchstrager GVT battlefield test beds were designed and built between 75 and 76. The VT-11 was based on a shortened hull of the cancelled MBT 17 main battle tank. Since the tank didn't have any auto-loaders, a crew of 4 was required to operate it. Yeah, I read that. The VT-12 featured a turbocharged engine. It was very powerful, though, particularly a Maybach engine, basically, or I think they call themselves something else then, but it's Maybach. They went back to the Maybach name later. I think they were trying to disassociate themselves from the World War II shenanigans. But anyway, the tank had a 3-man crew seated at the front, with the driver situated between the commander and the gunner. That doesn't sound very practical. Okay. The VT-11 was armed with 2 manually loaded 105mm rifle guns, but this version, the 12, was armed with twin 120mm smoothbore Rheinmetall guns equipped with 6-round automatic loaders. So I was wrong about that. Okay. 6-round automatic. You still need a gunner on both sides though, don't you, basically. Interesting. So let's have a look and see what we got. I'll remove my my Wikipedia. I don't normally cheat. I normally do it all from memory, but it's quite a new concept to me, this one. Usually when I'm talking about subjects, I usually actually know the subject, but this one's a bit of a new one. I'm just going to have a slurp of coffee. I hope you all enjoyed my recent videos about the mosquito, by the way. Excuse me. It's certainly I've certainly got the mojo back, as you can probably tell with that. It's going quite well. The thing is not to rush it too much. It's a kit that you've just got to, I think, for me anyway, I've got to pace myself and just keep going. I've sort of brought myself up to being very rusty doing it. Getting a bit better, and I'm now getting to the point where certain techniques around painting and spraying, which I've just not done for 18 months basically, well, nearly 2 years in fact. Terrible. Just getting back into it, playing myself in, and I'm getting there now. So yeah, I've just got to do a little bit every week. If I can just do a page a week or something of those instructions, that would do, I think, and we'll have it finished by Christmas. That is the plan. Anyway, so let's have a look at this, and I'll zoom you in. Now, I'm often not a big fan of Takom's instructions because they can be a bit lacking. At least they gave us some history there, which was helpful. I didn't know that before on that. What I quoted was from the internet. Okay, so we've got the sprue tree map, and then we've got, what have we got here? 3 options. Now then, 3 options. Oh, I see. So this is interesting. Ah, I like it. So you've got the option of having it straight and level, or you can have it as if it was with the suspension down at the front, as if it's climbing up an incline, or suspension down at the back as if it was dropping down an incline. In which case your torsion bars need to be in different positions. That's nice. I like that. That's really cool. We've got a bathtub style hull, building up all your gizmos for your suspension, control sensors and all that kind of thing. And then you got your little torsion bars and your sprockets and your idler wheels. You've got some protective shielding at the front to protect the hull, and you've got your return idler wheels on the top for the tracks. Same on the side. Putting in your torsion bars over on this side, and what's that rail? That protector rail? Oh, it has like a protector rail on them, is that right? Yes, okay, it's like a mounting rail really, isn't it? Putting your sprocket, car sprockets on, and then we've got to make our tracks, and it's got rubber band tracks, which I don't mind so much, especially depends on the quality of the rubber band, doesn't it really? But I think they make for a quick and pleasant build if they are done well. Sometimes, obviously, if they're not very good quality, or they sag, or they're not great, then they can be just don't bother, go and buy some aftermarket. But these I think will be fine. So there you've got your with your rubber bands on, you've got all your drive wheels and road wheels are already done. So you've got your hull basically finished already. So then you're going to move on to the top. It does remind me a bit of an armoured personnel carrier, the top of it, in style, which is what it kind of is. Just one with 2 massive great cannons. Obviously it's not for armoured personnel carrier purposes though. Looks like we've got a bit of photo-etch there going on the grills, on the top deck. Several hatches there to go in, so you can see the drivers. You see the 3 hatch design, can't you? With the driver in the middle. I don't fancy being in the middle though. I don't know. He's going to be. I don't know. Maybe it's safer than being at the sides though in terms of incoming shells. But then we've got the headlights going on at the bottom, and a couple of mirrors to build as well. Oops. And we have here all sorts of ancillaries. We've got the targeting system. I think it's an infrared system that's just unfolded itself, which I didn't expect. I wonder what that was then. It's got a fold-out section. There's your targeting system going on with your infrared sighting, and then you're going to build up the inner walls. You've got the back, the sort of back plate, the rear bulkhead going in here. Complete with exhausts, and as I say, it is a low-lying tank, isn't it? Because it doesn't have this turret, it makes it quite a low profile. So, yeah, probably safer on the battlefield than some. Looks like we've got is that fuel tank on the side? Can't be. Or is it the engine supposed to be? I think it's the fuel tanks. No, it's the fuel tanks, isn't it? I think. Oh no. Sorry, silly me. It's not the fuel tanks at all. It's the gun. It's the rear of the gun where it mounts in. The sort of the rear of the where the breech is, basically exterior of the breech. Just looks such an odd shape. It looks like a fuel tank. And then the same on the other side, of course, complete with your protective side armour on the side. You're going to build 2 of those. You've got your mud guards at the rear, and here you got your 120mm Rheinmetall cannon. Looks very much like the one, I could be wrong, but I think it's the same one that's basically on the Leopard 2. Sort of very similar anyway. And then we've got a couple of aerials and some mirrors going on there just to assist visibility. and then that's kind of it. You put your cannon on at the end, and we're done. Both your cannons go in, and that's it. And then we've got color callouts. You can see this like Sturmgeschütz type appearance, this low-lying, low-gun profile that it's got. And it's got the first one is based in Koblenz in 1975. Second one just says Germany 1975 on the second option. And then the third option, that's 4 in total, okay. Again, Germany 1981, looks like it's like proper being tested by the Bundeswehr here. And then finally Germany 1984. So it looks like it went into the army as a perhaps an experimental, function, but it was fully camoed up, wasn't it? I like those camo schemes. I like that one on the left, to be honest. That's quite cool. Very good. It's an interesting vehicle, isn't it? There's no doubt about that. Something a little bit different. I thought it was a fantasy tank. Oh, I tell you what, we've got how unusual, we've got rubber bands that are great rubber. How interesting. Right, now you said I can open the bags. I can open them. Oh, they're resealable. Excellent. It makes things easy, doesn't it? Means I don't have to reseal them at the end. It's a nice easy job. Right, then. Let's have a look. Put that in there. But there are no decals. Oh yes, they're here. Okay. Well, look at what we got. It's always nice just to do it's a little bit different. Sort of stimulates the imagination a little bit. Rather than another tiger or a panther or whatever. Or even leopard. Right. Let's have a look. So we have some decals. Yeah, quite nice ones. Yeah, I'd give them a bit of a trim. There's a bit of excess here with the carrier film. They've sort of done them in a very square sort of design and sort of plonked the main decal in the middle. Can you see what I mean? There, see it? Yeah, trim that right back if I were you, especially on that one that's like a V. Is it a V or is it a? Yeah, it's like an inverted V, isn't it? I don't know what's supposed to be really, but anyway, I'd trim around that. I wouldn't be putting that on. But yeah, it's got the Bundeswehr typical markings and the German flag. Very nice, number plates, etc. Then we have got our photo etch, and I do like it with Takom because they don't go crazy like some do. Keep it to the minimum, and it's very effective where it's used. They put what you need where you need it, and they don't use photo etch for anything else that isn't required. So that's quite nice. We've got a couple of pins here, not entirely sure if I spotted what they were for, but 2 pins in a bag. So far so good. I always like Takom. I always think they're very, very well tooled, their mouldings, Those of you that know, I did the Falklands Seawolf Sea Dart system. I did enjoy building it. I thought they were very accurate and really well moulded. The only thing I had an issue with Takom is this plastic they use, which is as hard as nails. Honestly, it's really tough. It's almost like ABS. So it's not something that's... we don't want to be using our God hand nippers on that, I can tell you. That would just destroy them. Because it's really, really hard. In fact, I have here... I bought these for... Instead of using my nippers when when you're cutting sprue, and I sometimes like to modify the sprues if they're a strange design and chop them down a bit, but it's not good for your cutter. So I've got these, which I think they're actually nail. I think I got them from Boots. I think they're a set of nail clippers, but they're really heavy duty. Look a bit brutal for your toenails, I've got to be honest. But anyway, really good for thick sprue, and it'll chop through that no problem without damaging. So just a little tip, you probably need some of them if you've got a Takom kit. Anyway, moving on. Let's have a look at this. Again, just going back to what I was saying, very nice actually. A real sharpness to their mouldings, Look at that. You've got these 2 hatches. It's a shame we couldn't have had those opening really. But I think that's more for maintenance that they open the hatches at the front. They don't access through that normally. It's probably for servicing the gun perhaps, or maybe for loading ammunition, probably. Ah, yes. Yeah, they'll probably load the ammo in, won't they, at the front. I think that's the way it works. So if you look at this, you can kind of see the layout of the vehicle in a way. So the back of it is just the engine gearbox at the back. I think it's got the gearbox at the back. Could be wrong on that. And you can see the engine deck here, obviously. The engine's certainly in the back. And then you've got all the crew at the front. So it's almost like a 50-50 split, really, isn't it? So I'm guessing the commander is on the left because it's sort of a little bit raised here, isn't it? It's not even across, not quite symmetrical. So I'm guessing that might be the commander's position. It's got a raised area for him to have an observer's view out the top. But you can see it's got some really nice moulding, as usual. So that's that one. Then we have, for some reason that's not in the bag, I don't know why, it's on its own. Then we in the bag here we have got our bathtub hole, which again Takom needs to do this really well, in fairness. What's that in there? What's that? All shredded. That wasn't me, Guff. What's that in there? Looks like it was already ripped. That's strange. Sorry about that. I think you mentioned it as a problem on one of the bags. I hope so anyway. But yeah, the sharpness is really, really good. They're a bit like Rifle with the moulding. It's really pin sharp, you know. Perhaps a little better with their instructions and details than Rifle. But certainly on the plastic front they're kind of similar. It makes me even wonder sometimes if it isn't done by the same tool designers, you know. So here we have, oh look, I've got into building now. I've started building other people's kits. Look at that. There we go, look at that. It's really coming together nicely, that is. Yeah, there you go. Gives you the sort of profile of it. It does look like an APC, isn't it? Yeah, well so far, excellent moulding, you know, as we would expect. Let's just pop that back in that slightly damaged bag. You did mention to me something about the bag being a bit damaged, so it's a shame. It's damaged in a way I can't really do much for it, otherwise I could have resealed it. Open at that end as well. Definitely seen better days, that one has. Fold it over. I shall put them to one side, and then... Oh, there's a second bag here. Actually, it's because of the instructions, wasn't it? I think they were all in the bag together. What I'll do, I think it's wiser to protect the plastic, is pop the plastic in there. Don't like it being free. It gets scratched easily. Pop that and the sensitive items back in that bag like so. It makes more sense. There we go. So, let's have a look at the tracks then. Look at the tracks. I'll have a slurp of coffee. Excuse me a second. I've seen them. I can't recall seeing them in grey before. They're very good. They're really good quality. Look at this. You don't get rubber bands much better than this, I suggest. Look at the some of the detail work on these. Now then, it's got these slightly strange knobbles where it was fixed to the rubber sprue. But look at that. That's nice, isn't it? It really is a nice nice set of tracks, he says. There we go. Yeah, that's cool. And of course, I've just realised, that's where your pin comes in. I wasn't sure what the pin was for. That's the answer, isn't it? It's to pin the tracks together. That's clearly the answer. Makes them a lot stronger if they're pinned, doesn't it? They look alright. They'll need painting, of course. You can't be one of these, you know, like a Matchbox builder like me. Oops! Just not paid to get you have to paint them, because obviously that's not the right colour, but yeah, they look alright, they do. Very nice, actually. When you see rubber bands as good as this, you think, well, that's just saved about 12 hours of work. You know, to build up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of track links. I'm not sure which is worse because I haven't had that much experience with boats, obviously, but whether it's track links or things like boat railings. People say, why don't you build boats? So imagine it goes on and on and on and on. That'd be crazy. I'm patient, but I'm not that patient. Alright, here we go. So this has got the armoured sides that we talked about. Oh yes, that's very nice. More excellent moulding here. There we are. Look at that. Nice, isn't it? Very fine. They always get the riveting right. You can feel the rivets, the bolts. But they're very, very well done. Subtle. Nice detail on the inside, which I almost missed actually. Look at that. That's nice, isn't it? Yeah. It's a slightly bizarre subject, but I can feel that this is probably going to get quite a good score because really some faults with it. It's launched, really. No, it's been fairly straightforward. Looks like a pretty straightforward build as well. Almost, I was going to say weekend might be a bit of a push, but you could probably build it in a week without a stretch. Very nice. Ideal on a miserable cold winter's night, isn't it? Something like that. Ah, clear parts, okay. Wasn't really expecting too many of them. Okay, well, I'm just viewing ports and the various little. Where are they then? I think they're really in the hatches, aren't they? But yeah, fairly straightforward stuff, really. Nothing special, but yeah, they look fine. No problems there. So we'll just pop that back in its bag. Quite looking forward to seeing these guns. They should be quite interesting. Twin guns, eh? Tell you what, it could do some damage, that, couldn't it? Pity they didn't make a few hundred of those. They could have sent them off to Ukraine, couldn't they? I bet the Ukrainians would jump at the chance of having a go with this. I think it needs a very, very skillful driver to get the most out of a vehicle like this. That's the only thing. Yeah, I don't think you could be anything but the best drivers available actually using them on the battlefield, because you've got to really deliver to enable the gunners to be able to do their thing. So here we've got some beautiful slide moulding going on. You see that? Fantastic. Look at that. Yes. Got our various hatches. I think a bit of stress on that part. Can you see that? A bit of stress, isn't it? Is that for raising the gun? I think it might be. It's a hydraulic, like a ram, and you got the other drivers and the gunners' hatches, all up to the usual standard of sharpness from Takom. Very nice. Quite a few parts, aren't there, actually? Quite a few. Sort of model would be quite good as a mojo build, actually, this, if you've been like me and you've been out of modelling for a while, actually not building for a while. I won't say I've been out of modelling, but certainly not doing too much building, obviously. And you only get back into it before you tackle your mosquito or your big the F109 from Airfix, or something really fantastic like your Heinkel from Border. That's coming soon, isn't it? That's very, very imminent, I think. Before you tackle something like that, you might want to have a go with something like this, just to get the juices flowing, get the mojo going, get your paint techniques back up to speed. There's the rear sort of wall bulkhead at the back. Complete the rear lights. They moulded those really well, haven't they? Look at that, moulded them all in. Wow. You've got your little grille at the back for the engine. And then this is the what I thought were fuel tanks. Just a little bit unusual in style and shape. Actually, of course, it's the gun itself, where the gun mounts and with all its armour plating around it, and on the other side of the gun as well. Quite an unusual setup. Some interesting, sorry, just missed that. Interesting, like walking areas here, where they have the high grip, the non-slip walking areas, just ahead of where the where is that? Is that down at the front? Is that on top of the gun? On top of the gun, isn't it? That's quite interesting. It's a very nice sprue. Very well done. Nice one, that. They always make a nice kit, Takom. You know, I've never seen one where I've thought moulding's not very good ever. You know, they always get that right. One or two people have grumbled about their decals. I found them okay, but I'm not probably the best person to ask because there weren't many decals on the seawall. They were all little tiny things, really, a bit inconsequential, you could say. Here is, oh, I'll go with the wheels. Here's the wheels. And there's two sets, obviously, so I'll just get one out. Very, very nicely done, actually. Just check this out. Look at that. Sounds like it's the postman. Just checking. Sure he's not standing there. Oh, some delivery or other. You've got all your torsion bars, you've got all your road wheels, the bolts are nicely represented. Yeah, they're doing a fine job with this. Look at these smaller ones though, look at the detail here, aren't these nice? So it's your 1970s, mid-70s Leopard chassis. I always remember that Dinky's Leopard tank was really nice. It was one of the best tanks that they did, was the Leopard. And it wasn't sort of very a popular subject in the UK at that time. I'm talking with youngsters here, not modelers particularly. But I had a friend who had the Leopard, and it was just brilliant, really. It was really well represented by the Dinky die-cast tank that they had. And I had the, is it 150mm? He had the Leopard, and I didn't have that one. I didn't have the Chieftain. I had the mobile gun, the one that was the big. Some of you might remember that it was like a big artillery piece, tracked mobile gun. I can't remember what they called it. It was 150mm. Never gone. But I remember looking at his Leopard and thinking, you know what, that's really nice. I did offer to swap, and he said no. He must have thought, but my gun was good. It was a big long barrel, and it was very good at chucking those shells across the room. You know. Well, here we go. So this is the actual the main gun itself. Oh, oh, look at this. They've done this nicely. They've slide moulded the end of the barrel. Look at this. So as it's coming to you, this end of the sprue, you can clearly see you've got the flash eliminator, which obviously on these is halfway down the barrel, and you've got the actual muzzle there. Look, slide moulded. Is it rifled? I might have to just get my optivisors out for this. If you'll bear with me a second, if I can find them. Where are they? There they are. I just want to see if I can see rifling. Because that would be very cool. Let me just have a quick look at this. Is it rifled? No. Of course it isn't. Stupid me. I just realised it's a smoothbore gun. That's why it's not rifled. It's a smoothbore Rheinmetall cannon, isn't it? So no, it's not. You stupid boy, as Captain Mannering would say. I should have known that. But yes, it's beautifully done, though, isn't it? They've got that really, really nice. I think that's beautiful. Yes, very nice parts here. And then you've got all the little handrails for the hatches, and some of the suspension parts. Yes, and that's it really. That's it. Okay, well, quite an interesting subject. This weird twin-gunned, low-profile main battle tank, you know. But it clearly didn't catch on, unfortunately. Nobody. I think it just has too many limitations because, as I say, if that gets hit in the tracks and gets immobilised, you're out of business, aren't you, as a tank, really? And this is what counts against them. It's the old story, you know. It's almost like they were trying to bring back the Sturmgeschütz type of vehicle. You know, the Hetzer. More like the Sturmgeschütz size, I suppose. It's very limiting, isn't it? You know, it's on paper, you know, saying about it, skiing its way back and forth and all this sort of stuff. It's all very well on paper, but in reality, I think that, as they said, strategically, it's a little bit, tiny bit limiting. Just a bit limiting without having a turret, and you know, low like the Leopard 2 and the things like the British Challenger still have a very low profile, without the downsides that this would have. Anyway, there we go. So, marks out of 10. Well, there's anything I didn't like, really? I mean, it's got this thing where, excuse me, it's got this thing where it's not made all that clear, but you can have it level, or climbing, or diving, by altering the suspension, which is really cool. I mean, it's almost a 10 out of 10, perhaps not, perhaps having the rubber tracks, they may not age well, I don't know. I think it's a 9.75 out of 10, there's not much wrong with that kit at all. It's just nice all around, nice mojo build, something that, a real talking point as well, you know. If my brother-in-law had built this and turned up at Christmas, it would certainly give us a few chuckles and something to chat about over Christmas dinner, you know. How do you manage your twin-gunned tank, you know, when you had one of your tracks blown off? Oops! And that's why it never sold, really, and it never took off. But I'm going to give it 9.75 out of 10. It's a lovely kit, there's just nothing wrong with it, and it's even got a bit of history on the front, which was quite helpful. So, yeah, it wasn't quite as lacking in history as I feared, so I think that's a nice one. So thanks to my brother-in-law for his kind loan of that. Get that back to you. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll actually see it built, you never know, one day. It's like me though, you know, say, oh yes, you should build that. Well, which should you build? Because he's got a lot of models. Anyway, there we go, so 9.75 out of 10. Hope you'll give me a like, give us a thumbs up, give me a 10 out of 10, because it all helps the channel. And I'll be back soon. I think we've got something else, Christmas related, coming, very loosely. I'll be talking to you, showing you another interesting kit. Maybe something from the great lost Ark of the Covenant of model kits coming soon. So stay tuned, and in the meantime, thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe, keep your eyes peeled for any updates on the mosquito, and I'll be back, as Arnie said, very soon indeed. Until then, thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. Look after yourselves. Take care, and bye for now.